Welcome back to Bergisch for episode 2, and we are starting off mowing one of our small fields. So I was just checking there that we are getting a dry enough grass state from mowing that we will be able to let this dry to hay with seasons. And you can see in the distance we've got all our straw bales still to deal with, which we will get to next. I love the size of the fields on this map. They are perfectly suited for the kit that we have. You know, it takes a couple of minutes to mow a field. It's really nice. We don't have a huge amount of animals, so we don't need loads. So yeah, I really enjoyed recording this episode. In fact, I wanted to keep going, but I had to do something else. So you can see from the yield map on precision farming, we are not getting a great yield, but we've not scanned the field yet, so we've not done anything with nitrogen or lime. We will work on those over the winter, probably. So I'm running the front and rear mowers from the Fellow Grassland pack. I think that's what it's called. It's a mod that's been out on Mod Hub for ages. It has some really nice bits of kit in it. These are conditioning mowers, so they're giving us one tedding state of the potentially many you could need with Maize Plus and doing grass work. But no idea how much we're going to get off of here, but it should be enough to keep us going through the winter for the cows and the sheep, hopefully. So we'll get the other thing I love is the way a lot of these fields are set up. So that field has a barbed wire fence with a little gate, which is just a couple of strands of barbed wire that you unhook. It seems like it's perfectly set up to put animals in, and you could use the basic pastures pack probably to do that easily enough. It's something that I thought about doing, and I may still do if we want more space for sheep. So now into the little Ford and loading up all of the bales. Well, I'm actually going to load up 8 because I think that should be enough straw to keep the horses going through the year, and the rest we are going to sell. I very rarely sell straw bales because I very rarely have an excess. But because we're not using straw for the cows, we don't need to keep them for that. So we're going to sell them, see how much money we can make. I would like to look at getting a square baler for doing the straw and the hay, just because it's easier than the round baler, because of the stopping and unloading, which I really struggle with, and I run the round baler extension mod, which helps automate that, but it's really unrealistic, so I kind of don't like using it. Anyway, we'll get these put in the shed up here. We need to transport them over to the horse yard, which, if you haven't watched the video I did on the animal food additions file that I'm using, you will see later in this video. It's away from our main farm, but for now I'm getting them in the shed because I want to get the rest of the field cleared and sold. Loading these 8 bales up went fairly smoothly, so we've got another, I can't remember how many we made, probably 40 odd bales to load up. It's not the biggest trailer in the world, and you will see once we've got one layer on, the little Ford is not big enough to do a 3rd layer, so we can only get 2 layers on here. To be honest, that weight is enough with the fast track. It's any more than that I think would be too much, so it works well. We probably need to look at getting a bigger weight for the Ford. I think one bale at a time it's okay, but later on you'll see again we struggle with the front loader. We do have other front loader options, which again you will see later on in this video as we explore some of the other things that we'll be doing on this map. So first load of bales loaded up, and now we see how poor my German is as I head off to what I think is a bale sell point. I'm going to record the first run because this is such a pretty map. This is the first time that I've really played it at all, and it's so nice, and we've just driven straight past what I think is a bale sell point. I think it's pretty obvious from looking at it that it's not, and no, they don't want our bales, they probably want some wood chips there. But we've only got to go a little bit further down the main road to get to an actual bale sell point, and you'll see up here on the we've driven past it actually, there's a cool little sheep pen along this road, which is a sheep pen just in a field, and I'm quite tempted to pick that up at some point maybe. So 9.5 grand for the first full trailer load of bales. We haven't quite got the second trailer full, and it's slightly unevenly loaded, but hopefully the tractor will be okay. So we'll whip these over to the bale sell point as well and see how much we make in total for our straw bales. I realise I can do a better loop round here and not have to worry about stacking the tractor up. So in total, 17.5 grand, nearly in excess bales. And we're now going to go and look in the forest area that we own at some of the other kit that we have. So we have this, I had it open, it's Kaz truck, I think it is. It's a modular truck, so at the moment we have the little timber bed on the back. But there's a grain bed, there's a fluid bed, and there's a bed for loading vehicles onto, so it's really cool. And we also have another Fendt one. This is the I think it's this 7 series, I can't remember exactly which model. So this has a front loader on it, so we'll be using it for loading up logs. To be honest, it'll be coming back to the farm as well. It's a nice big tractor that we'll be using to get some jobs done, and we may use it as a loading option as well, because it's much bigger and it's got a nice big weight on the back of it as well. But I just wanted to stage it here for the video and for an effect. Yeah, so it's a Fendt 724 Vario, because I've got that handy little HUD display thing in the middle of the screen at the bottom, which actually ends up getting in the way later, and I'm probably going to take it away, but it's quite nice. Ignore the fact I get completely stuck in the trees here. So you'll see the log that I'm trying to drive over, the little one, is one that I'm using as a measuring stick so that I can cut the logs so they fit in the back of the bed. We're going to have to do a little bit of logging throughout this series. I don't know how much, but we're using wood chips to bed the cows, so I want to make my own wood chips if I can. There are about 4 trees on here. I think I loaded a couple up before I started the series just to make it easier to get the first lot of trees into the sawmill, which we're headed to now. This is a global company sawmill which is placed on the map when you start. It produces wood beams and a cut bark mulch, sawdust, and one other product, and then around it there is a pallet producing. I can't find the unload point here, so I have to go out of the game and load. It's actually here where I'm parked. I just don't quite get in the trigger. There we go. So there are 2 more placeables here, one which takes in the beams and one which takes the pallets, I think they are. Anyway, it makes empty pallets and it makes wrapped boards or beams or something, and you can sell all of those. You can sell the bark mulch that you get, and the wood chips we will be using. So it's a source of income and a source of bedding for the animals. The price for the barley that we harvested seems pretty good to me. It's about 800 euros a litre. So we're going to get that sold. The bit that I was just talking over was me forgetting that the load and unload points are separate in our silo, and I didn't need to worry about moving the trailer. So we're going to go over to, this is actually at the grain mill that we own, which you can use to produce grain mix and CCM. We won't be doing that for our cows because they are grain free, as you'll see when I get to feeding the cows in a bit. Also ignore the fact that I forget to open the silo up to tip into. We realise that later on. But first load, 17 grand, that's not bad, is it? So yeah, I now realise I need to open it up. And on this last load, I also realised that actually the grain mill's just across our field and our field is empty. So rather than looking around, we'll just go across the empty field. This truck is more than capable of going off-road. So grain sold, and that made us nearly 47,000 euros. So we're sitting quite nicely here. We're now going to work on clearing the cows out. One really cool feature on this map, instead of spilling food, they spill manure. So we've got a nice little pile of manure growing. I've yet to muck out the cows, so there's a fairly decent mound actually in the shed. So we've got them cleaned out. We are going to bed them with some of the wood chips we have in the pallet here. And this is from the Lizard pallet pack. So we'll take that in. It actually takes all of them, so we do need to sort wood chips from the sawmill. And now we're going to make some TMR. So we need mineral because we have a minimum requirement of 5% mineral. And then we're going to do a bale of grass silage. When I did my maths, I forgot that I was using grass silage bales and clover silage bales, so they're slightly smaller. So a hay bale, which I will get in eventually. We go for an alfalfa silage bale. then I've forgotten where. I think I'll do another grass bale, and then we need to put some more mineral in because we don't have enough. So we're going to need to do a trip to the shop soon to buy some mineral. And the bigger weight. This is why I said we needed the bigger weight. Because we struggle to pick up a full pallet of mineral. So, and we need to do that a lot. I thought I had one of the buckets from the farming agency which let me make beet shreds, but I obviously sold it after I did some of my testing, so we're just going to stick some beets in as well to finish filling up the mixer. And then we'll get the cows fed. Something I've realised with the sawmill is I need to have a tractor or skid steer or something over there to move some of the products it produces, because overnight they filled up really quickly and we only processed a tiny amount of the wood that I delivered, and we don't have many wood chips there. So some of this money that we've made from selling the straw and the barley we will be using to buy another tractor to leave over at the sawmill. And we're now going to head over to the horses, which is our last job for today. We will get those watered and fed. I've left a bale of straw for them so they don't need bedding down. We've got a little old Massey Ferguson skid steer over here. So we're going to give them some carrots and some hay because they look like they're doing okay for horse silage or grass. The feed trigger here is a bit tricky, which is a bit of a pain. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a like and a comment and all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time.